Okay. Just finishing setting up. All right. Excuse me. Okay. That's the glue. This is the water. All right. Now, when we last joined, last left off, when we were last together on this project, we were painting in the background, and we started working on our feathers here. And I'm fairly okay with the beak. I'm not okay with the way the foot turned out. So we are gonna just carefully try to redo the foot. It's just tissue paper and tacky glue. So providing I don't rip the canvas, we should in theory. Ooh. I just pulled some gesso off the top layer of that canvas. Wow, that tacky glue is strong. Wow. That's alright. We can fix it. It'll be okay. It'll look bad for a little bit. But not too long. Oh, what a mess. Because I just couldn't leave it be. I wonder if I had wet it, if it would have come up a little bit better. Probably. But I probably would have made a larger mess. Okay. Wow. But you know, I wasn't feeling it. I kept trying to be like, this is fine. This is okay. It's all good. No, it wasn't all good. Alright. Not up there. Grab this whole mess here. Alright. So, we are going to grab... We probably don't need anywhere near that much, but I'm going to grab some more of our silver. And figure out how we're gonna redo this guy. So I was really low on gray, so I had to grab my silver. So I'm trying to twist it with the shiny metallic side in. I mean, I know we're going to get a little bit of it peeking through, but you know, what can we do? We're doing the best we can here. So we will see how this goes. Oh, I got my new colored pencils thanks to a donation from Jess to the Ko-fi page. Thank you so much. Perfectly timed because those pencils were on a Black Friday sale. And it was glorious. We got them from Castle Art. I got the 72 basic color set. And now I really want to pick up their pastel set because the pastel set looked really good and I was really torn between which one I wanted to get. But I was like, I would really love to have the pastel one for the coloring book. But I kind of need the basic set to to do my magnet mock-ups. So I'm kind of torn between which one I want to do. So I was like, I can probably get more out of the basic colors for now. So I ended up throwing the pastel ones on the wish list. We do have one. It's linked somewhere. Once there's enough chatter in the chat, Moobot's supposed to post the link for it. Okay. Let's see. I don't know if this is going to be enough. So I was gonna... It probably is. I was gonna reduce the size of the foot a little bit because it got a little big, right, from the cookie cutter. So now I need to try to fix this. If I can get the... Oh dear. The only thing that I have trouble with this glue bottle, there we go, is getting the lid off. It's one of my pet peeves with this glue bottle. Yeah, I think Spotify is definitely having trouble today. Because I'm like trying to remove stuff. Off of a playlist. It's not letting me. So thank you for being patient while we got started a little bit late today. Okay, that's probably good for right now. Alright. So let's figure this out here. How big do we want our foot to be? I'm thinking maybe... see if I can get the glue in here. So I'm thinking maybe about that big now. And I know around it's going to look a little unsightly until we are able to get the background put in. We might put the background around the foot just to get it started. Just so it's not quite so terrible looking. Does mean I need to make up my mind on how we're doing the background. Like, are we gonna do smushy or are we gonna do like straight up and down? I was gonna do like a straight up and down pattern originally, but now that I'm kind of getting a better look at things here, I think that I am probably gonna do the smushy, kind of chaotic looking background a little bit. Just because we're gonna have so much like directional pieces on this guy, right? So it's probably going to... What am I hearing? Oh.
You were hearing the sound of the dog loudly drinking.
Okay. I was gonna say. Definitely sounded like a dog licking, but it sounded more like they were licking something they shouldn't have been. Okay. Got my pile of little pieces right there. So you probably will get glue on you doing this in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's on your fingernails, your fingertips, somewhere on your hand. It's more than likely going to happen. Okay? You're just gonna have to deal with it. That's why I'm rubbing my fingertips a lot to try to get the glue off of there. It's tacky glue though. It's not gonna hurt you, which is why I'm like, don't use the Acrylic glue. Don't use super glue. Don't use any of these weird, quick bond, expensive, stinky glues. Your fingers are going to be involved. You do not want to glue yourself to your project. So, please, for everyone's sake, just use the tacky glue or the Elmer's glue, whichever you can get more readily. I'd say I'd prefer the tacky glue over the Elmer's for sure. Just because it grabs a lot faster. Because the Elmer's, you might have to go like thin on the Elmer's and then almost let it start to get a skin. Or if you go a little bit thicker on the Elmer's, you'll have to hold it in place a little bit longer. until it actually grabs hold of it. That's the only issue I have with that. Trust me, I wish I preferred the Elmers for this, because excuse me, it's a little bit less expensive, but I'm not sure how much I'm going to need of the glue for the large project I've got coming up. Now, that project that I keep talking about, I'm not going to be able to start that till after Christmas. A, time, and B, I'm not allowed to have the stuff for it yet, because the stuff for it is a Christmas gift. So I kind of have to wait, but that's okay. We've got other stuff to keep us busy. I've got video editing I need to get caught up on. I've got photo editing I am way, way, way behind on. I still have a couple of videos I wanted to edit together from when we were away, and I just haven't had time to get to it. I've been trying to get Bear and Breakfast recorded. So I managed to get 4 more half-hour-ish sessions recorded of that. It's very easy to lose time in that game. So I'll be like, oh, it's only been like 10 minutes. We're good. And then next thing I look up and it's like 40 minutes later and I'm like, oh shit. I was trying to keep these to like half-hour-ish times. The one session was like just about an hour. I was like, because then I get like into trying to fix the thing or to build the hotel rooms or to lay them out, and I'm like, no, I'm not happy with that. I'm like, I'm kind of happy with that, but not fully. Like, but what if I do this? And then next thing I know, it's been like an hour, and I'm like, I didn't get anything done. Such is how these management games go for me, where you have to design the things. Very easy for me to lose the time in there. Okay, so what if we kind of do something like that? Ignore the painted gray part. Well, gray and white part now. You know what? I don't think I have enough paper cut. Or twisted. I'm like, oh no, we're fine. Maybe we don't have enough. Might have to twist a couple more. So I twist them into the little paper snakes, as I'm going to call them, because they remind me of the little clay snakes, except paper. I twist them to just give them like a different sort of texture here. Just kind of gives it a little more life. Oh no, we might be okay. Might be okay. So I'm trying to gauge how our foot is shaping up here. Now that I had to redo it, that might be a little bit better. Be a little hard to see that. But I think we are looking a little bit better here. Just grabbing one of those little pieces that we had trimmed off. Because waste not, want not, right? Like, it's still usable, it was just too long for the original space it was going to go in. Right, that might be a little bit better. We're not going to do the line in the middle. Like, nothing I do with this guy is going to look right. But that might be a little bit better. What do you think? Does that look better? Because you have both agreed with me that it looked horrible. Husband,
Hmm?
does that look a little bit better?
The feet?
Yeah.
Yeah, as good as it's gonna get.
Because like that section will be gone, that white part. But that's a little bit better, I think. You
Yeah.
take the line out from in the middle, so it just made it look like it was a boot. All right.
I mean, it still looks a little bit like a boot, but now it's a stylish boot.
There's not much I can do about it.
Yeah, I know.
All right. So, I mean, I could do a little bit of the background now, but I think that might just have to annoy me for the time being. All right. Tail. So, I need my... Did I close that? Yeah, I closed it. Okay. Give 1 second. Or I need to look something up again real quick. And I can't show you my image because it's not really technically an image I should be using. So for this, like these were supposed to be like tealy colors, and I didn't have that color tissue paper right now. So decided we'd go with green as an alternative. Why is that? I don't know why I did that for that, but okay. I'm gonna have to find what I did with the rest of that color. That might be in my box. Maybe. I have to make sure I've got enough of that background color before we definitely go with that background color. Alright, so part of the tail is going to have some green streaky guys in it. So I need to twist some of these guys. Alright. I don't know how many I really need of it. Probably not all that much. So get a little bit here. Yeah, like I've probably pulled out way too much here. Okay. Could I have finished this in one day? Would have probably taken me all day. Probably 2. If I had like a full 8 to 10 hours to sit there and deal with it. Now, we are going to need to add some extra time to the husbands, because I'm probably not going to get done in time with just doing one more session each. So we need to either suddenly start working a hell of a lot faster, or we need to add either recording time or extra day of working on it. And we're not going to be done this today. Not for the amount of time that we have to work on them. We won't get the background done in time. I'd probably need one more week on this guy in order to make that happen. That's 2 pieces. No, it's not. It felt like 2. Felt extra thick. I always underestimate how much time something's going to take me. And I thought I was kind of crazy starting that axolotl in October, but if I'm only working 1 day a week on it, considering how much of an adventure that one has been, it's really not that much extra time. Like, not really. Alright. So I'm gonna do a little bit more on the edge here. Taking this guy up. But that involves needing more of this color twisted now. I mean, it doesn't normally take that long to twist it, but it does take some time. Especially when I didn't pre-twist any. My own fault. Oh. Cut myself. I don't know on what. It's like a little split. It doesn't hurt, it's just surface. It's not bleeding or anything. So that's a couple. So we're probably going to have to stop and keep twisting a bit more on this as we go. We will see. I'm also trying to keep an eye on my internet connection, because Spotify has been acting all sorts of stupid this morning. Where it just suddenly stops and it yells at me to make sure I'm not in offline mode, and I'm like, I was just listening to you. I haven't done anything. I did see some work trucks down the end of our street, but I don't know what kind of work trucks they were. All I saw was like the little yellow flashy lights and maybe somebody up in a bucket. I don't know if that was the power company or if that was the internet company. I don't know what they were doing down there. Don't know if it's related. Okay. Ah! Not what I wanted to have happen. Alright. Fumble finger strikes again. Alright. Our glue is already starting to set up in our cup. Alright. So we'll get this guy. Finally did our bulk trash pickup for the year. We get one free one. And then after that, we have to figure it out. We have to take it to the dump ourselves or pay someone to haul it off. And then when you take it to the dump, you have to pay, I think it's minimum $10 by weight. And that would have been several trips for us with our trailer. And that just would have been a ginormous pain in the ass. So, yay. They even took some stuff I wasn't sure if they were gonna. Now, I could have probably trimmed that guy a little bit. It was actually a little long. Okay. Oh, wow, Kofi Bot's having fun in the chat all of a sudden. Oh, you know what? Actually, we can do that. That one wanted to lay in that direction anyhow. That's fine. Need a shorter one, I think. I don't really feel like trimming this. So it's okay if I don't fill every spot that I put glue in. Like up in here. That should be okay. We can fill it. But we were gonna layer this up, so it wasn't too big of a deal. Well, this one's being a little stubborn, so I might have to hold that one in place for just a minute. Or it might have to just get shoved back into place as we go here. Won't be the first time we've had that happen. I've had that happen. Come on. Right, so I'm just trying to fill in all of our gaps here. Let's make sure we don't have too many gaps in between our pieces either. I mean, we're okay if we have a small gap because we've got our paint key underneath of it, so it's not just like glaringly white canvas peeking out at us, which is why I go through that extra step just in case somehow you see that gap at the end after you're done fussing. You're like, oh shit. But at least this way, it's not as noticeable if it's there. Alright, this guy, I think I'm gonna half you. Probably shouldn't, but I'm going to. Just to make you a little bit easier get into there. Man, they weren't saying anything about rain or showers this morning, like at all. But it was all kinds of wet and gross out when I went outside to check to make sure that they picked up everything and didn't leave any surprises in the grass. There was a couple things that was like a shattered piece of plastic, and I could understand them not wanting to take the time to pick up all those little tiny pieces of plastic. They've got a lot to do this week. They're not picking up recycling, and all of the town's trash that's like spread out Monday through Friday is being picked up in the next 3 days because they're not running trash on Thursday for our Thanksgiving holiday or Friday. So I was like, oh boy. And they're like, yeah, no recycling this week. No time. No time. No time for that. Because the guys that collect our trash also collect our recycling. Same trucks that just they stick a trailer on the trash trucks for the recycling bins. So it's not a separate operation here. Alright, just getting us some more black here. Because we definitely need some more. What we have is not enough. And I'd mainly cut these to this size. Because they're a little bit easier to handle. Number one. Number two, I was originally keeping them in a bead organizer. And then that's about how big the little open squares were. Little open cubbies in it were essentially, and it might have been slightly bigger than the paper, but I needed to be able to pull the paper out and put it in. And then I realized, oh, right, I'm gonna have overflow for the amount of paper I had bought at the time. So then I ended up putting it in some Ziploc storage bags, and I was like, you know what? I guess I really didn't need the container after all. I was originally sticking the overflow in the Ziplocs and was just gonna refill the container, because then I could open the container and have all the colors in front of me. But I don't know, probably would have just been easier to just do the Ziplocs from the get-go. And then I was using some like plastic containers that we had extra to put the paper twists in. But didn't have quite enough storage room to pre-twist all of these and or time to do it in. And when these are twisted, they actually take up quite a bit of room. Like a shockingly large amount of room. Alright, just trying to make sure we've got enough to work with for a couple of minutes here. Time consuming, but necessary if we want to do this. Oh, I think I forgot to do something. I did. Silly me. Okay. I typed the message out to post it in Discord and then I never hit enter. Nisey things. Just Nisey things. Okay. I'd like to have a few more there, but I'm probably going to have to get a few more green guys done here too. I try to use the matte tissue paper. Like, we don't need anything fancy here. Just simple. Simple tissue paper colors. Just like your basic ass gift wrap. Nothing fancy. Probably find some decent colors at like your party supply stores. Sometimes your craft stores will have like a gift wrapping section. It's gonna be hit or miss on finding the right shades you need there though. I found most of mine through Amazon. Some colors were a little more elusive in person. I managed to get quite a few from Party City at one point. All right. Let's see. Do we need fresh glue yet? We're getting there. Okay. So, I want to do this. I gotta be sure. That's why I'm a little hesitant. Because it's a lot harder to do an oops-a-doodle and remove it after the fact, as we demonstrated with the foot. I mean, we were able to, but while I didn't rip the canvas, I definitely pulled the gesso layer off of it. Probably should have gotten some fresher glue here. But I'm a hardhead, so I didn't. Okay. I'm going to dry off that brush because I want to try to get as much water out of it as possible. We don't want our glue to get watery. Alright, now these guys I might take off a tiny piece of. I guess I didn't really have to there. It probably would have been alright. Alright. So this guy. I'll try to tuck him into there. Our neighbors are very door-bangy today. At least I think it's coming from them. Shouldn't be anybody here. I will say we definitely need to tape over the doorbell that we have, because it's not connected to anything. We've never been able to find it. There's a doorbell button. that looks like it was wired to the house outside. We have no idea what it goes to. Never found the mechanism. I think I see a spot in our hallway that it may have once been wired into. Maybe. But it's definitely not there anymore. And some people have pushed it thinking that it's a functioning doorbell. Like, doesn't even light up at night or anything, so pretty sure that that is not hooked up to anything now. Alright, so I'm just adding a little bit of our green into parts of our tail here. Just to kind of add a little bit of color in there. Now, don't be too concerned if you've got the tips a little sticky uppy. It'll all get glued in there and won't be going anywhere once we get the Mod Podge on there. Yes, there. The nozzle felt slightly clogged. I'll just have to get a new toothpick. That's fine. We can get more toothpicks. I think it's like, what, $1, $2 for a whole huge box of them. Alright, so I've not been using a whole heck of a lot of glue in one go. That's because it'll start to set up and dry in the cup. If we put too much down. How do I want to do this? Guess we just kind of have to pick a spot and start layering. Now you don't have to make your layer the exact size of your paper twist. You can trim your twists. That is possible. Just make sure you have the scissors that can handle it. Sometimes my craft scissors get a little cranky about it. But these were more scrapbooking scissors and not really meant for paper twists that were quite so thick. Just be careful that you're cutting the paper and not snipping yourself. A, very embarrassing. B, it hurts. We don't want any injuries. Oh, Jesus Christ. Thought I just about spilled the water. Let's not do that. Alright, so this guy, just gonna lay on top there. I mean, I could have put some of the green in the base layer, but the reference image I'm using at the moment didn't really have that. It mostly had it in the upper layers. Now, I'm not going to stress too much if we have a little bit of gapping happening here on this layer, because we have another layer of paper underneath of this one, so it's not a huge deal if that ends up being the case. So I did get to mock up one of my potential magnet projects this morning. Took me all morning. I was kind of surprised it took me quite that long. But I was trying to look at the colors of the piece and the colors that I had, and then versus the colored pencils, and then trying to figure out what color pencil I wanted to use for what shade of yarn, and basically just sitting here trying to plot out what I wanted to do. So I think for the magnets, we're going to go back to maybe following along with Bob Ross for some of them. Except this time, we're going to use a season we've never done before. We're going to go all the way to season 31. And start down there. And then work backwards. My colors won't be exactly the same. And I attempted to color in possible reflections, and it kind of looked reflection-y, but I don't know how that's gonna look needle felted-y. Sometimes when I try to do the reflections with the needle felting, it doesn't really translate very well. Or at least my brain's looking at it like, no. Alright, so I'm using the brush to try to get our tacky glue all down in where it needs to be. And then again, rinse the brush. I know these are two brushes that we decided we were sacrificing to the glue gods. However, we want to be able to keep using them for the glue gods. And we don't want them getting too funky where we can't use them anymore, because then we'll have to find new paintbrushes that we can sacrifice. And then it just becomes this vicious cycle. So we at least want to make sure we can keep using them. And yes, I do have a bunch of old, crusty, grubby, not in the best condition paintbrushes that I've probably had for no lie. Some of them are probably about 20 years old. Not all of them, but probably some of them. So if we want to keep attempting to use them, it's going to be a sad day when I have to go through that box and decide which guys have to go. Because you never know when you need a shitty paintbrush. Sometimes the shittiest, messed up, pointed paintbrushes can make like the best trees ever. why I'm like super reluctant to get rid of some of my paintbrushes. I'm like, oh man, but I might need this brush. You never know. Alright, so I did just do these last couple in here as solid black. And that's fine. I didn't want it to become too stripy. Like the next row I do might end up being mostly all black, potentially. Just to try to keep from getting too carried away here. And you don't necessarily have to put your glue in a cup or on a paper plate if you're not comfortable doing that. If you want to just directly apply it and then brush it out to try to avoid glue waste, although we're not wasting that much, that is entirely up to you. Okay. Let me clean the glue out of this guy. Alright. We're definitely gonna have to twist some more. Come on now. Cooperate. We're definitely going to have to twist some more paper here. Paper's getting a little bit of an attitude here. Probably because we didn't do the color next to it. This is getting a little thicker in spots. So like I said, sometimes you're just going to have to get your fingers in there. Again, that's why we're using tacky glue. It will wash off. It won't really hurt us, not like some of the other glue options out there. Alrighty. And what if we add like a green guy? Now the glue should dry clear, so I'm not gonna stress that glue seeping up there too much. Okay. I slowly taking shape here. Ever so slowly. Now, if you want to make sure that your layer below is fully dry before adding in a bit more, that is just fine. Doesn't take too long. For it to get really tacked down in there. I, though, definitely need some more glue bits here. That should be enough for this layer, I think. I hope. Alright, drying off our brush. Okay, toothpick. Gotta get the toothpick. So we need that. Alright. And we'll get our green again. Like, I don't want a whole lot of green in the tail. That's why, as we are getting a little bit higher, sorry, I had to stretch my legs. All kind of scrunched up here. I just don't want it to become like a solid stripe of green. I want it to be a little more like smattered in there as we go. So I'm not trying to do just constant green, and the one row was kind of like green, black, green, black, green, black. And that's okay for down there. But now that we are coming up a bit higher, a bit closer, I kind of want this to be a little bit more varied. Okay. So, just going to make sure I don't have any little bits of glue on my fingertips here. And I am going to get a little bit more black tissue paper. Twist it up here. This is probably like the most time-consuming part of this, is actually the paper prep, I think. Alright, because I mean, you gotta do the paper prep before you can really get down in there. Got it up under my fingernails. That's annoying. But some soap and water, and we'll get that cleaned up later. Now, as we start to come around our curve, that might be a little bit trickier. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm still not quite sure how I want to do that. I might start... Might have to start kind of... Might have to start out here trying to Get this guy layered up a bit. Probably should have done it on this layer, but a little late for that now. But we'll see what we can figure out here. Need some more black. At least we have the paper already cut, so that's saving us a little bit of time. Just a bit. Okay. So far, the internet seems to be behaving, but Spotify hasn't had an issue yet. Now, you guys can't hear Spotify because my ass will get copyright dinged. But it just hasn't been worth the hassle for me to figure out background music. A lot of the background music I could use is stuff that makes my ears hurt, and I can't explain it. Just the tones that it's done in. It just it makes my ears abominably ache, and I just can't do it. I've tried to find some stuff, and if it gets to be a little too like weird electronic-y, disco-y, clubby, then I start to get a headache. So I'm like, that's all right. Provide your own background music. When I'm doing these sped up videos, whether it's a speed paint, a speed build, depending on what we're doing, a speed needle felt, I've sort of curated a library of stuff that I can tolerate to listen to. That's not too bad. Some of it I like from the YouTube library, but I don't necessarily know that I can play that on Twitch, so I'd rather not find out the fun way. Since it is a YouTube license. So we're just working on getting some feathers feathered here. I think we're going to need a little bit more on the black maybe, and quite possibly a bit more of the green. And that won't be too much of a problem. I've got more of the green next to me, so I don't have to go hunting for that. So, husband showed me, and I do have to make a 6th tentacle, antenna, tendril, whatever it is, coming off the axolotl's head. So I'm like, crap. So I'm gonna have to try to get another one of those like tree-like objects, broccoli-shaped objects, needle felted, upside down broccoli, I guess is what we'll go with. Because I've got one of them done, I think. Like colored and with its little fringy things coming off of it. So we will try to get, I guess, number six put together tomorrow. And it was like warm yesterday. It wasn't like unpleasant warm. I'd say maybe high 60s, maybe low 70s. I'm not sure what it actually got up to. It's supposed to drop down until like 29 tonight, maybe 22. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, no wonder I hurt so much today. This is crazy. And this is what our entire week's gonna be. Like 50-ish, then plummet back down to like the 20s. And I'm like, no. How about we don't? Could we not? I'm not a fan of this. Could we just pick a temperature range and stick with it? This is too broad of a range. And my body's not having it. It's just not. It's crazy. I probably pulled out way too much green. In fact, I am fairly sure I probably did. These green pieces kind of stuck to each other. Sometimes they get a little staticky. Sometimes they're not cut all the way through either. That's also a thing. Paper cutter I was using was more of like a scrapbooking paper cutter where you would be doing like one piece of cardstock, not like 6 sheets of tissue paper in one go. I was trying to do 10 and it just the little tiny blade on the thing was just like, what we're not gonna do is that. I was like, oh, come on. Make this go faster for me. But I got a guillotine, you know, one of the serious, not like a super teacher level one, but it's much more powerful than the other one that I had. Oh right, I need more glue. We need some more glue and we need a plan of action here for how we want to handle this. Sorry, it really does feel like this is kind of clogged here. Like, not terribly clogged, but enough to be definitely noticeable. Like, please don't drop that. I'll never find it again. Okay. So, I guess we kind of have to start on this end, right? If we're going to layer it properly. Kind of, sort of. Potentially. We'll see if I can kind of get the angle sorted here. That's probably way too much glue. for right now, but I've got more glue. We've got the glue. And I will keep track of how many big ass bottles of this I go through. What is this? This is 16 ounces on the other project. Although, I mean, that's going to be real subjective to how much glue you use. Or relative to how much glue you use, so... Not real sure how I want to do this. Because I'm like gonna have to start turning this here. Relatively soon. So I'm not really sure how I want to handle this. Still. Oh, goodness. I know we're definitely handling it by getting our fingers all full of glue. But that just kind of goes with the project here. All right, get the glue rubbed off my finger there. We try to figure this out. Okay, that end's got all sorts of glue on it now. Like, I don't want to touch it too much because then it'll start to like pull the glue skin off of my finger, and then that part's probably not going to dry clear. But we're trying to figure out how I want to start to turn this. And I'm just not 100% sure. I guess we're kind of starting to turn it. Sort of. So maybe we go like that. And then we start to like maybe like start to... I didn't think there was enough glue to grab that piece. Kind of surprised about that. Alright, so again, we're just using tacky glue. Nothing fancy here. That's all you want to go with. Tacky glue preferred. Elmer's if you can't get the tacky. And just basic tissue paper. Now I did paint on here the design that I'm trying to do. The colors weren't quite right, They don't quite match the tissue paper I have, and that's okay. That is not a big deal. So we can work with that. But it's mainly, and the background color is not really going to be all that visible anyway by the time we're done. So I wouldn't stress it too much. Doesn't have to be exact color matching to your paper. It's mostly just there in case you have a gap open up that you didn't notice. And so you don't have any glaringly bright white spots try to be visible in between your pieces of paper here. That's really all it's there for. And I tend to do that now because I got lazy once doing it, and I'm like, I don't really feel like doing the painting underneath. I don't really think I need it. And then lo and behold, I saw all kinds of spots where the white canvas was poking through. So I was like, oh, yeah, I should have not been lazy about it and just did the underpainting. So now I tend to try to make sure I do that. I can hear one of the cats meowing in the other room. Not sure if it's Littles or Ed, but somebody's sounds like they're getting into all sorts of trouble in the other room. Okay, so I'm using the toothpick just to try to help maneuver paper around and help squish it into place so my fingers don't end up completely saturated in glue. Doesn't always work to keep the glue off of me, but it keeps my fingers cleaner than they would be without using it. That's for certain. Alright, so this is just like a little like cold medicine cup that I kept and am reusing to put glue. Sometimes I put paint in them, sometimes I use them for little tiny water cups when I paint if I need to have a cup that's got clean water in it. Or if I'm using small enough brushes, because then I can dump these little cups into a bigger cup so I can refresh my water without having to get up and leave a lot. Alright, and this is just a paintbrush, nothing special. I think it came from an art set or something. That the hairs aren't coming out of it, which is nice, but I'm not really using it for anything else. So I'm just like, okay, you can be the designated or one of the designated glue brushes for this right now. That's fine. Now, it's not a huge deal if we are not completely over top of our painting outline. Not a big deal, because you won't see the original painting outline by the time we're done anyway. because we will be doing tissue paper over the background. So like here I had to fix the foot, so that will go away and not be visible once we get that far. Okay. And you can cut these little paper twists that we twisted to any length that you want that you can manage. I know some people don't have the greatest dexterity in trying to get these little pieces into place can be somewhat of a daunting task. Also, another reason why I'm using a toothpick. You can use a stylus, like a art stylus, not like an art pad stylus. Don't use your electronic styluses. You could use an old pencil. Just something that you can get glue on, that it's going to be okay if you do. I figured, you know, toothpick probably the most readily accessible item, and you don't have to use it. It's just, it's helping me kind of get all of the pieces smushed in there together a little bit better. So I just find it helps a little bit to have something of some description. Alright, now I'm not quite sure how I'm going to handle getting the background in around the tail. I probably should do the background first, but we'll figure that adventure out when we get there. Alright, this guy. Alright, so let's get a little bit more of our tacky glue here. Inside, outside. I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm using a little bit more glue here than I might necessarily really need. But we've got a lot of paper layers here. So I don't want to be too skimpy, because we need to get these other guys added on in here. And it's okay if like the very tips of them aren't glued down. It's fine. It won't be an issue by the time we're done. Hello, kitty.
I heard that. What was that?
It was one of the cats. I'm not sure if it was Ed or Little, but it's one of them. It might be Little. She was being a little feisty when I went to the bathroom earlier. I thought she was going to try to play with Ed for a second. I was like, uh-oh. This is not going to go well. And then I wasn't sure if she was trying to chase him down to start some shit with him, but... I actually... Well, I don't know yet. I was going to say, I might need a little bit more black, but now I'm not sure. Well, I mean, I'm going to need more black anyway, because we've got another section of black to put in here on this guy. So regardless as to whether or not I need it for the tail, I will need a little bit more black paper anyway. Now, if you find that the end of your toothpick or stylus, whatever you're using, is getting too sticky, like it's getting too much glue buildup, you can either scrape it off if it's a stylus, or if it's a toothpick, you can just kind of grab a new guy. Like, I'm pretty sure if it really comes to it, Dollar Tree probably sells toothpicks. I would check how much they are in the supermarket, though, before you buy them from Dollar Tree. You never know. There's a chance if you're just buying a box of simple toothpicks, they might be cheaper than Dollar Tree, so make sure you shop around. I haven't had to buy an actual box in a while. Like, this set we bought, I think, came in this little holder, so... And that's going to be a little more expensive because it came in a little plastic guy. Yep. Just got my hand up underneath the canvas, just making sure we're getting all pressed in there. And we are working on a 6x6 bit of stretched canvas here. I'm probably a strange person, but I do not like canvas panels, personally. You could probably make this work on a canvas panel. You could put it on a little piece of wood. I've done them on wood slices with like the bark rings on them. We've done those before. You could probably do it on like a thin piece of wood like this. This is about the size of those magnets that I'm gonna make. You know, something like that. Anything that the tacky glue will stick to should be fine. I wouldn't try to stick it to like felt or anything. That's gonna get messy. But paper even also, just be aware that if you do use paper, the paper might get a little warped from the glue. So you might have to just deal with it, or be prepared to deal with it, or have it like a piece of like parchment paper on top of it, and then put a heavy book on top of it to help keep it flat. But that kind of depends on the thinness or thickness of your paper and how much glue you're using. I mean, you can use the canvas panels for this. I just don't like them. Every canvas panel I've ever tried to use has warped on me. The corners usually get dinged in and crunched, and it just doesn't look aesthetically pleasing, so I get mad about that. So I much prefer the stretched canvas. Or at that point I would even go with like sketchbook paper, like the mixed media paper, if I'm real desperate. Like, even that would be a better alternative to me than a canvas panel. But I also know some people that love working on canvas panels, so. And, you know, if that's what you have, that's what you have. Just be real careful with them. Maybe the canvas panels I've always had access to were not the best quality either, so that could also be a factor. Okay, that should probably be enough for right now, at least. You know what? I would like to refresh that. I also don't have a big fancy water cup with like the little silicone nubbies at the bottom either. Right now, my bigger water cup is the bottom of a plastic water bottle that has some texture in the bottom of it. Kind of see it down there. So it's got like some built-in ridges that I can scrub the brush against. Not the greatest, but hey, I had it. That was not necessarily free, but I grabbed it out of our recycling bin and I'm like, okay, I'll just reuse this. I just cut the top of the bottle off. Do be careful though, because the edge might be a little sharp if you do that. I've been using that one for a while. And then when that one gets to be too ick, or if it cracks or something, I will just grab another bottle out of our recycling. Might as well, right? Okay, so okay, just wipe off the ferrule there. Ferrule. Okay. Just wanted to make sure we were dry. I don't want the glue to get watery. Now for my last row, I might trim those a little bit shorter. Just because we're not going to have as much real estate to work with to tuck the end pieces into. So I'm going a little heavy-handed on this in here, or what I consider to be a little heavy-handed, just to make sure it will get stuck in. Alright, and we're just gonna rinse the glue out of that yet again. And I want to make sure that we dry that off real good. And you can tell I'm just using a washcloth that has seen better days that we decided to designate as a painting towel, because it's still good enough to wipe a paintbrush on. Alright. So let's work on getting this next bit of tail feather in here. As best as we can. So I'm just kind of looking at a photo off to the side and trying to follow the direction that the feathers are kind of laying in. I know it's not going to be perfect, but you know, we can do our best. It's all we really can do. I didn't really stop and think about the direction the feathers were going to be laying in when I started placing them. Like, I was thinking about them, oh, coming down that way, and then we got up here and I was like, oh, right. That's, a bit different, isn't it? again, if your point on your toothpick's getting a little too gluey, a little too much residue on it, you can either flip it over and use the opposite end for a little while, or just get a new one. Alright. I think I can get one more of these guys in there. That's not too bad. Okay. So these guys, I'm gonna need to shorten our next round here. You're not long enough. So some of my paper twists are a little bit shorter than others. So let's see. Let's use one first as our guide here. Actually, maybe we don't need to. We might be okay. All right. Okay. So let's work on getting our last bits of tail feather figured out here. Now I am trying to work in small sections. I know this doesn't really look like a small section, but it's usually a little bit easier. Now for this section, since it's not that big, I think I'm gonna just put the glue all in place on it in this section. That was a pretty big gob of glue there. I might regret this. We will see. Hopefully we don't. Yeah, worst can happen is that the glue gets too dry to stick, and then we just have to add more. Not a big deal. Reapply it. But I try to work in the smaller sections just so we don't have to worry about the glue usually drying out on us. And that's also going to be dependent on room temperature and if you have a fan on. I wouldn't recommend using a fan. In any sort of capacity where the tissue paper is going to be in the line of fire. If it's already twisted, it might not be so bad. But if you've got some pieces that are just the loose little squares or, you know, cut down pieces that you haven't twisted yet, they're probably going to go flying. They're very lightweight. I speak from experience. So, just keep that in mind. Or maybe try to have it pointed at your face and not your project work area. Because also it'll dry your glue a lot faster than you might be wanting. So that's something else to keep in mind. Sometimes one end looks a little bit better as the pointy end of the feather. one end will look a little bit messier. Sorry, didn't mean to shove the canvas around there. I was trying to just get that little bit of black pushed back into its section there. It was starting to get a little too far into my orange section. Now, I painted this color in, right? And I don't remember what color I was originally going to make it. I have an idea, but I gotta look at all my colors now, because I'm like, I had a plan for this last week. And now that it's been a week since I've looked at this, I'm not sure entirely what my color plan was here. I don't remember. I didn't write it down. I really do need to write this stuff down. Yeah. Sorry. My mom needed something. She wanted the husband. So, like this top section here might start to get a little unruly a little bit. So you're just gonna kind of have to bully it into place a little. So, everything okay?
Uh-huh. She needs me to take her to a little Walmart.
Are you getting the other stuff now? Alright, it was 2 gallons of milk.
Yep.
Oh, but the coleslaw stuff you have to get at Harps.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop at Harps first.
Okay. And paper towels.
Uh-huh.
Was there anything else?
Other than the stuff for the pie, no.
Oh, the bananas.
Yeah.
Did you need more pudding, or do we have all the
We've
pudding?
got the 2.
Okay.
Should be enough.
Okay. Last minute things that we need for Thanksgiving dinner. And dessert. Always something, but I know it's not till Thursday, but the milk will be fine. He's making a pudding pie, and I just want pudding. So, we need more milk for that to make 2 different sets of pudding. And then, you know, milk for cereal and stuff and hot chocolate and all that. So, I definitely need a bit of milk. Especially if I'm doing some more biscuits, because that took milk to make those. Let me see here. I'm missing right here. Yes, I am. Well, let's. Oh wait, there it is. If I can reach it. Yep, that's the color. Okay. Now I have to try to figure out what I was gonna do here. Okay, that section is probably gonna be a combo of the dark orange. And our like burgundy wine color. Hang on, just want to get the little bits of glue off my fingers here. That tail doesn't look too bad. Looks very layered and textury. Yeah, I think we'll definitely go with the smushy background like we did on the butterfly and on the cardinal, because I think that's just going to be the easiest way to get around all of our edges here, and that way I don't have to worry about keeping a specific diagonal on the paper twists. And we've got so much texture with the twists going here that I think we'll be okay to just do the smushy background. And the smushy background is just taking some little tiny, like taking one of these and ripping it up into some smaller pieces. All jagged edges and what have you, because it's not going to matter. And then we'll put some glue down, and then we'll kind of slide the tissue paper around in the glue and get it pushed up against an edge here, and then we'll build off of that. And kind of just keep going. Now, if you're concerned about these guys sticking up, don't be, because when the Mod Podge goes on, it'll help squish everything together and attach it, and it'll stiffen all these little guys up. And then they shouldn't be going anywhere, because the Mod Podge is also a bit of a glue as well. You could straight up just use Mod Podge, but it's going to be like the PVA or the Elmer's glue, where it's going to be really liquidy, and it's not going to grab onto your paper as quickly as the tacky glue does. So you might have to like wait for it to start to dry a little bit, to where it starts to get a slight skin on it, or you might just be stuck holding it in place a little bit longer if you go with that route. Wouldn't be my first choice route to take, but if you're trying to work with what you've got, it's another option. To keep in mind there. Alright, so I'm just trying to get some of our orange twisted here, because I don't have any pre-twisted. And this is a bit of a darker orange color. And this orange is a little bit thinner than the black tissue paper. The black was a little bit thicker, I think. It felt a little bit thicker. The twists were a little bit thicker, even though the squares are roughly the same size. So my fingers are going to be so sore when it comes time to doing tissue paper prep for the Sunset Flamingo project. So sore. I hope I ordered enough tissue paper. I'm second guessing it now, but part of me is like, no, I think I'm ordering too much, because I originally had it at like double that cost. But we did go with the slightly smaller canvas, because like I said, in a couple of years if we move, I don't want to be trying to ship a bigger canvas. What was it? Of 48 by 60? That would be a nightmare to trust to the shipping pod. To hope that it gets there in one piece and then trying to wrap it, and that would be absolute nightmare. Plus I would have to get a canvas that size delivered. And it was a little pricey because we did manage to get the slightly smaller canvas in the car, but only just. Like, we managed to get it in the back seat without putting the seats down. We thought we were going to have to. But we turned out to be not necessary. And that's a good size canvas. It comes up to like my shoulders from sitting on the floor. So it was definitely awkward to drag around the closer art store to us. I'm not really sure how much of this color I'm gonna need. I'm gonna need a fair amount though, because we just are. Like, we've got a good amount of ground to cover. So like this color is gonna be like that color. I'm gonna have to trim it for this section in here. Probably at about half the length that it is at the moment. But I also need to get this color put into here. I'm trying to figure out what color I was going to make that. It looks kind of brownish. Maybe I was going to do red and tan, maybe? Okay, you guys kind of hang out up here. I mean, I'm going to need a fair bit here too. So we're going to have a couple of layers in there. So part of me is like, no, you're good for now. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know if I really am. Like, I don't want to waste time twisting paper that I might not necessarily need, but at the same time, we kind of need it. Sorry, just checking on the dogs. Making sure everybody's where I left them. The weather got real shitty, which was a bit of a surprise for today. I didn't think it was supposed to be quite this. Oh, yeah, it still looks pretty crummy out there. It's all cloudy and overcast, and the doggo was big mad that he didn't get to go to one of his places that he likes to go to in the morning. My mom had a doctor's appointment. Russell took her. So I was here with them and he was just not having it. And this dog was definitely giving me all of the attitude, all of the sass, all of the angry pants. Because we didn't do what we normally do in the morning. And he was very much mad. He had messages to check in on, emails to answer, and I wouldn't give him access to his message center. I'm like, buddy, he's not here. He has the car. We can't go nowhere. I'm sorry. But then once I settled down and put my art light on, I think he finally got the message that we weren't doing anything special today. Which was real hard for him. Real hard for him. All right. And then it got wet and rainy out, and then he went into nap mode. I did tell him maybe after I'm done today we would see, but now that my mom just stole the husband to go to the store, we were talking about going tonight. We probably won't be doing anything this afternoon. With the two of them. It's windy, it's just blah out. It's ucky. It's just ucky. No other words to describe it. Sorry, I'm just trying to get enough of this color. Don't think that's quite enough. I mean, we can twist more if we need it, but trying to make sure we can get through that section. But in the meantime, my glue is drying in my cup, so I'm kind of like, Wah! All of the things. And I'm hoping that the shiny parts of the tissue paper aren't too much of an issue when we go to seal it. We get that sealer on there. Even the matte sealer was a little bit shiny in my lights, so it was hard to really get a good gauge on it. Which means the big project is probably going to be a nightmare for me to try to photograph. Because I got gloss sealer. I'm like, I think I want that one to be shiny. And now I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh. Maybe I should have gone with matte. I don't know about this. We'll see. We will see. Oh, you know what? It's just a couple more. We'll just get these guys. Might as well. This point, right? I will say that temperature has been dropping. It was in the 50s, I think, earlier. That's not what I wanted you to do. You were starting to turn into a paper twist. And then I messed it up because you were a little bit tough to hold on to there, friend. So I'm not really convinced this is enough of the burgundy color here. I might have to twist some more here in a few minutes. All right. So we're gonna work from the bottom up on the chicken, Rooster. Now these guys are a little bit thinner. They are not as thick as our black paper was, so I'm going to try to work a little bit quicker. We're probably going to get a bit more in there than we did the other ones, which is why I was thinking, I don't know if this is enough. I've got more of it, just I don't have more of it twisted. All right. So now the question is, what should have been your proper length? Because I'm not certain with you. I'm just not. Oh, yes, you are a bit long. Or at least that particular piece is a little bit long. And since it's the bottom layer of this, we're okay. I can just kind of scrunch it up higher without trimming it. And we'll be fine. Because like these layers up here, they'll get covered by other colors. As we get them worked on in. Okay. I know it seems probably silly to go to this much trouble, but I've done a normal painting for her already previously of roosters, so we have done them on the channel. I don't know. I think I live streamed it, but I don't know if I put it on the YouTube channel, where I did an elaborate one with a tractor and a barn and a field, a mountain in the background. I just can't seem to remember offhand. I know I have photos of it in stages. I just don't know that I had oh, internet. What you doing? Okay, so it's our internet. Huh. Sorry, Spotify just cut out and the internet Started dropping frames there for a second. It got a little stuttery. You know, we just had a part not even a month ago, or maybe just a month ago. And I feel like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, replaced on our modem. Because it was dropping us like every 2 to 3 minutes. And we called, we got a hold of somebody, and they're like, huh. They're like, we don't really see it on our end. They're like, we'll get back to you. And we're like, okay. They're like, let us call one of our technicians and we'll get back to you. I'm like, okay. And then like 15 minutes later, somebody was in our driveway and we're like, hi, we didn't know anybody was coming. Nobody said someone was actually physically coming. We're not complaining, we're just surprised. But apparently they were also doing some other work in the area, and the guy looked at our modem box outside, because our modem's outside on the side of the house for reasons, and I don't know why, but something to do with our fiber connection. And he looked at it and he goes, yeah, one of these parts is bad. And we're like, oh, okay. And they replaced it. And it was all fixed like within a half an hour. But he's like, we're doing some work down the street. So I guess he wasn't far. And that's why he just like popped on over without any kind of warning there. And he's like, yeah, we're finishing up some work like right down the street or whatever. In the area, and so it might do it again in the next couple of minutes, but after that it should be fine. But I also felt like Spotify was having trouble. It keeps going back to like the last song it played, which is kind of annoying because I just keep hearing the same set of songs repeatedly now. Like, it was becoming such a problem earlier while I was trying to get some work done. I was on down detector. I'm like, what is happening? This is quite the Technicolor chicken. It feels like. Alright. Next. Yes, I know. Apparently my internet connection has been unstable for most of the day. Which is kind of aggravating. The amount of money we're paying for just the internet. I mean, we've got a really fast download and a pretty good upload when it's not being screwy. Our download, when I speed tested it earlier in the middle of all the problems, because I was like, what is happening? We were at 699 download and my upload was at 146. Alright, we're gonna need some fresh glue. But it was interesting to actually see the frames dropped there. It was only for just enough to be a problem. Actually, no, I guess it was like a good month ago. maybe a month and a half ago, because we were playing, no, maybe like 2 months ago. No, month and a half, because we were finishing up trying to work on something in Diablo. And we were, every time we logged in, we'd like no sooner get a character logged in and it was dumping us. And we're like, what the heck? And then we started timing it. I don't think this is us though, because this is the first time it did it since we started streaming. So I think this is our provider's issue. Like, I don't think it's necessarily specific to our modem, because it came back immediately. It didn't seem to take any time for the modem to spool back up. That was a very loud plane. Sounded like a jet plane. We'll hear those occasionally, but not very often. I used to hear them all the time where we lived in New Jersey, because we were in the flight path for the Atlantic City International Airport. And it wasn't so bad, except for when the F-16s were taken off from the National Guard base, because they shared the same airport runways with the National Guard out there. That was always a little much for me. So I probably should have trimmed those, but this is fine. Hi, Zuzu. Daddy had to take Grammy to the store. Okay. They'll be back. I know, he didn't tell you short run. I know. It's not time to go anywhere yet. I'm sorry, buddy. I can't really turn around and pet you. I've got glue all over my fingers right now. You're gonna have to wait. And you're just gonna be all the big mads at me. Go lay down, bud. I can usually tell when he sits down behind me, because he like slams his ass into the floor for something so tiny. And he makes a thumpy noise. I know it doesn't seem like it, but we've actually made a good chunk of progress on this guy today. Like, that's a lot of layers of paper. So I'm feeling pretty good about that, at least. Like, I don't want this real thick, because I don't want it to go everywhere when we get the other, like when we get the paper smushed in here on top of it. But at the same time, we kind of need to make sure it's not going to go anywhere either, right? So it's not too bad. This is going to be a big travel week here in the US. If you are going to be traveling to go see family, please be careful. Please don't drink and drive. Please pack your patient's pants if you are driving. Make sure you are staying alert. Don't drive if you're too sleepy. Pull over at a rest stop, take a little nappy nap. It's better that you arrive, even if you arrive late, than to not arrive at all. And should any of you be partaking in the Black Friday shopping madness, please, I beg of you, as a former and possibly once again future retail worker, but definitely as the former self, please be kind. Please be kind to your cashiers. Please don't be screaming at them. Please don't go full gargantuan mode. Look, the husband and I will let you in on secrets, okay? A lot of the times, especially at Best Buy, those sale items for the holiday in the flyers, they'll only have like 2 of them in the store. So when they're out, they're out. There's nothing they can do about it. They were only sent X number of them. Please don't get in their faces. It's not going to end well for you. And all it's going to do is just, make an already stressful day even worse for everybody. So, come on. Let's all be adults. I know you all are capable of it. Let's just show, some respect. That's going to be a difficult one. But if we could just, be civil while we're out there trying to shop, for those that are going out to shop. Just don't be that guy or girl. Okay? Because if you end up acting like that guy or girl, I can guarantee you your story of how you behaved will live in infamy with the workers that had to deal with you. I can guarantee it. You will become one of their dreaded holiday tales of working the holiday weekend that they will be telling to the new hires. I can guarantee it. You don't want to be that person. Trust me. You don't want to be that person banging on the store's front windows and door when the lights are still clearly off inside, the door is locked, and having to page a manager up front while you are in the process of putting tills in because some lady is banging on the front windows like a crazy person. Well, I need to get this thing. The manager's like, we're not open yet. But I need to get the thing. I need to get to this other place. The manager's like, we open at 6. Guys, no, we were opening at 7, I think. Guys, it was 6:30 in the fucking morning of Saturday of Black Friday weekend. And this crazy lady was acting a fool, banging on the front windows. Yeah, but I just need to get the thing. That's nice. We open at 7. But I just need to get the one thing. No, we open at 7. You can come back. We're here till X amount of time tonight. We're here till 10. Because we had started our holiday hours. We're here till 10. Like, ma'am, our registers are not even functional yet. Like, you need to calm the fuck down. He's like, we don't even have any employees available to ring you out yet. We don't have registers functioning yet. Well, I'll just leave the money on the counter. No, that's not going to work. We're not doing that. A, it might not be enough. And B, we might owe you change. No. No. Patience. Patience, please. Patience. And we had a Michael's just like 5-10 minutes from our store. And our corporate office was like, yeah, we're going to honor Michael's coupons. So they had a whole huge computer interface put in to our register system just for honoring the coupons from Michael's. Oh my god, you guys. Because Michael's was doing dollar off every so many dollars, right? So if you spent this, you got to get this many dollars off. But we had to make sure we had the coupon. We didn't give it back to them. Oh, it was a nightmare. And people are like, well, what about my dollar off? And we're like, huh? Like, did you give me my dollar off? And we're like, do you have the coupon? Well, no. They said that you could, they said you would give us the coupons here. I was like, no. The best I can do for you is to see if a manager will authorize a 40% off a regular priced item. I don't have Michael's flyers, coupons in this building. No, that what we're not doing is that. You have to have it with you. Oh, I don't want any of this then. And then they leave it off. Can't tell you how many sales I had to avoid because of that. Well, I'm just gonna go there then. Well, where do I get it? I don't know where people were getting them from. I don't know if it's in their in-store flyer. It might have only been in the newspaper. I don't know. I don't work for Michael's. Just for fuck's sake. It was a feeding frenzy. It's the only way I can describe it. It just felt like we were thrown into a pond of angry piranhas that hadn't eaten in weeks. It was bad. And then I had to do Friday 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. Or was it noon? I think it was 1 p.m. I was usually scheduled for. No, it might have been noon. I might have had to come in at noon to help do lunch breaks. And then I was there until the store closed at 10, but after everything was cleaned up, we didn't get out of there till almost 11 because the miners all had to be kicked out and sent home the second 10 o'clock hit. So we lost like 2/3 of the workers that we had because there were so many miners working. And then it would be like 3 of us, sometimes 4 of us trying to quickly finish. So like management would kind of be like the assistant managers or the store manager, whoever was still there at that point in the night would be like on the miners kids asses. Gotta clean, gotta clean, gotta clean. We've got to get cleaned up here. Don't worry about the returns. We'll deal with them in the morning. just clean. And we'll worry about the returns when when the store's presentable. Like, it was just crazy. Okay, you need to, like, stick. Like, that weekend just filled me with such a sense of effing dread. There's just no other way to describe it. It was awful. And then Saturday, I usually did kill till countdown on the weekend, but the office manager came in to do it on holiday weekend, and I had to run front end, so I had to come in at like 6 a.m. and start cleaning up the registers, anything that didn't get done the night before. So I had to sweep them out, make sure all the returns were gathered and separated. We would like get them into shopping carts if there was too much for the little cubbies behind customer service that we had, and sorted out by department. And as soon as the kids were coming in, I'm like, just take it and go, take it and go, take it and go. It's gonna get real fucking wild in here soon. Wiping down all the counters, making sure all the bags were filled, and then I had to fill our change drawer, and then I had to get the tills put in and the registers brought up online, and ugh. And then we opened the door at 7 a.m. and then I had to try to figure out a break schedule, because the minors, that's anyone that was working that was under the age of 18. So the 16 and 17-year-olds are high schoolers. They had to have a 45-minute break. And let me tell you, those were some long-ass 45 minutes. And I was doing open to close shifts on Black Friday weekend. So I was there at 7 a.m. and I didn't get to leave until almost 11. And then I had to come back in the next morning. And I think the next morning I had to be there at 7 for a 8 o'clock open for that weekend. Because we opened early for Black Friday weekend. Like, normally the store didn't open on Sunday till like 10, I think? 9? 10. 10 on Sunday, normally. And then I was there from like 7 till 7. Because on Sunday we normally closed at 6, but I think our holiday hours extended it to 7. Ugh. And then I had to do my normal schedule on Monday, which was like a 1:30 in the afternoon start. And then I didn't get to leave until close. So fourth quarter, that would be somewhere between quarter after 10 and 11, depending on how dirty the store was. Y'all, be kind to your retail workers. It might not be that bad in some places, but it was exhausting for me. I'd be losing my voice by the time Monday came around because of how much yelling to be heard, because I don't project very loudly a lot of the time. Oh, it was awful. Alright, so we're going to work on this section here next. far he's actually looking kind of cute. I'm not sure what else I can do with that foot. I might be able to smush some paper around the edges, maybe to clean that up a little bit more. But I don't know. At this point, I'd almost rather, so I'm still not happy with it. At this point, I'd almost rather rip it off again and put him in a nest. And quite honestly, that's probably what I should have done from the beginning. I still might do that. I'll get the husband's opinion on it later. I don't know how much of this I need. Shoot, so this is like a tan. I think we're gonna make this a tan and burgundy combo. It's more like a brownish orange, but I don't really have a brownish orange. So we're gonna kind of have to figure it out and see what we want to go with here. We might be able to come up with something that will work out a bit here. We'll see. All right. Because, you know, I have some jute still. And I might just kind of do a little nesty nest, but I might do it after the background goes in. Just to kind of save myself some heartache. But we might just do that, is what I'm thinking. Right, that's probably still not quite enough burgundy twisted. We'll see, because I didn't want it to be like full burgundy. Our built up side is starting to get a little bit trickier to work around. Glue is trying to dry, so I'm just kind of grabbing what I can. It's trying to be completely skinned over here where I can't use it. All right. Let's get a little bit more fresh glue before we do the next round. We haven't really lost that much glue today to it drying out. I'm doing pretty good there in that respect. Okay. So let's start to get our brown color here kind of smooshed into place. Now I might actually need to I might need to twist a little bit more of our brown color here too. That I'm not sure of yet. We will see how things start filling in here as we go. Just make sure everybody is good and attached in there. If your canvas is a little loose, you might need to put your hand up underneath on the other side, just so it's got a little bit something more sturdy. Like, so when you're pushing down, you can push up on the other side too. If you're doing a squish test, just to make sure everybody's in place. Ah, no. No, no. I don't want you to drag all the glue out of there. So that's not exactly what I had in mind, but here we are. I'm getting a small bit of glue buildup on the end of my toothpick here. It's like turning the toothpick tip black from, you know, it's picking up colors of the tissue paper and all, so it's not really all that much of a surprise. I am going to have to trim a few pieces here. Oh, I probably should have. Oh. Oh. This piece. Dang it. I'm like, oh yeah, we're working from bottom up. And in that section, it was the bottom. And then I get over here, I'm like, oh. Right. Not quite the bottom. All right then. Well, there's a couple of ways we could approach that. Except you are much too long to even attempt that. Like, I can try to like leave that sticking up just a little bit. No idea where that just, oh, there it is. I was gonna say, sometimes you'll snip an end and it will go flying. And you may never see that piece again. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to do this piece next. I'm gonna have to pause on this section and start to get this other section filled in here. Because I should have did this section first, so I wasn't paying attention. I'm not completely used to working backwards like this. I keep forgetting I have to work backwards. Okay, well, these couple of pieces can go over this way. Now, I don't believe that's enough black that's twisted there off to the side. So we will get a little bit more of that, and then I have to grab the other. Oh no, we don't. Not yet. Guess we have to grab the other green, but the other green I need for there. We're not to there yet. Alright, I probably will have to pull some more black squares out of the bag I've got. But let us work with what we've got here at the moment. Oh, goodness me. Okay. It is probably going to be a hot chocolate after dinner kind of night. That, or I might make some biscuits later. I also have cookies I need to make. Just don't know if I'm feeling up to it today. I might wait and get those later this week. Could make them on Friday, because Friday's dinner will be leftovers. Okay. Now, is that enough green? Probably not. Oh, yeah, I said I was going to grab some more glue. And we definitely need more glue because that is pretty much skinned over there at the bottom. I could kind of move it, but it was not really a desirable, usable status. I think I'm about halfway through this bottle. Now I have another bottle of this that I haven't opened yet. I had bought it a while ago thinking I was going to need it. And I think I've got 2 more in my Christmas stuff. So hopefully I've got enough glue, because the craft store that I hate going into, but it's our closest option, doesn't carry it. Surprisingly enough. I think Walmart might, but I don't know what size they have it in. That's the only thing there. Got a lot of glue residue in there. Yes, yes, we do. Alright. So, let's start getting this guy kind of laid into here as best as we can. And I am going to try to add some bits of our green color. Where we can. Might not be completely possible in all spots, but we'll do. We'll try. We'll try our best here. Because this is kind of a slightly awkward spot here. Just a bit. So you are just gonna have to overlap a little bit there, I guess. And overlap the wrong way. Alright. Now, a bit more glue in here. For the next set coming on in. Like, sometimes I'm like, no, work small, because, you know, you don't want the glue to dry out on you as you're positioning, but then other times I'm like, have it down in no time. It kind of just depends on how fussy the area is that you are working in. Number one, mostly. Number two, how thick you've put it down. And you really don't want it super thick, because then it's going to squeeze up in between all the seams, and then you'll have more of the glue on you than the project. So it's kind of a balancing act that you will have to figure out through trial and error of doing it, of how much glue you can get away with putting down. At any one given time here. He was very upset when he realized you weren't here anymore. Husband's back. And that is the sound of an excited doggo whapping his tail against everything.
Oh no, that's Speed jumping up and down to try to wake my arm.
Oh, I thought that was him.
Oh my goodness.
They're both just in a frenzy today. They're mad because they didn't get to do their favorite thing. Alright. Get this guy tucked into here. I mean, that looks kind of good. Kinda. A little messy at the moment. But so Sweetie, aka Snuffles, is very jealous
Yeah, I've noticed.
of anyone else getting attention. Like the husband doling out attention to anybody else.
Relax.
Like even when we're in bed and if I'm snuggling, she gets mad. She wants to be the only one getting attention. I'm like, man, like she will try to insert herself and try to push me out of the way. She's not aggressive about it, but she's definitely a bit of a pain about it. You know, she might have had to pee. Because I haven't taken them out since earlier. Because nobody seemed to want to go. Alright. So I try not to work with it too thin. Because I do want a little bit of wetness there to soak into the paper. Alright, so we're going to get a little bit more overlapping in here. It doesn't have to be as much overlapping as like the tail and stuff, because this is part of like the flatter chest feathers. So we don't need quite the crazy level of layering as the tails got. Okay. Remember, every so often you kind of want to check in with your implement, whether that be stylus, pencil, toothpick, whatever you're using, to see if you need to clear off any glue buildup, because you probably will. It does happen. So, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm thinking that I like the idea of the nest at the bottom a bit better. Uh-oh. Internet. What are you doing? Alright, I need to make a note of what time that happens. 2:17. Because I don't know if it's us, because this has been going on all day. I need a piece of paper. I don't have a piece of paper. Never have a piece of paper available. 2:17. Shoot, I don't remember when the last one was. seems to be almost hourly. And it started over. But it is corresponding with an internet drop, because we dropped a bunch of frames right there. And the last time it did that, we dropped a bunch of frames as well. So that's kind of annoying. Hey, husband. Husband.
Hmm?
What are you doing?
Like at this very moment?
Yeah.
Playing Persona. Why? What's up?
Is that online or?
No.
Okay.
Having internet connection problems?
Because it just happened again and I dropped frames again when it happened.
Yes, there's got to be something somewhere down the line.
I just don't know if it's us or not.
I doubt it.
But I forgot to write down what time it happened the last time. But this time I did write down what time it did. Alright, I think we're gonna need... Well, I don't know if we're gonna... We might need a little bit more. But then again, maybe not. Because we're like almost... I'm not gonna twist it just yet. Let's see. Let's see how it goes here. Alright. We'll keep going with this section. Alright, that's a little thin. Like thin is, and I don't want it to dry out by the time I get there. I do want a little bit on those tips there. Okay. So. Now, let's get our next round here. So I didn't end up... Bless you. Oh my goodness, kitty. That sounded like Ed sneezes. I didn't end up twisting any more. I don't normally work from that edge. Usually work from bottom. Just because I find it easier. Keep my hands out of the glue. All right. Okay, let's get another black guy here. And then I think we'll do another green one. Okay, So we definitely had enough of the green. Got all these little glue pieces on the edge of my fingernail. It's very distracting. At least for me it is. Staring down at it. Okay, so there's that essentially. So we've got that section, so we can come back up to here now. And we're gonna need a bit more here. I'll tell you what, we are done with our green. And we are all done with our black. Okay. I think these guys I'm gonna need some half pieces on. So it's gonna make this a little bit more interesting. So these guys definitely need some more, not really some more, but just more half pieces of the red. That might be too long still. Alright, I don't want to get too carried away with that. Okay. So now we'll work on getting this section small sections. So we're gonna have to be fiddly with this next bit. All right. And I think I want a fresh toothpick because that one's just kind of looking icky from all the glue residue. And it didn't want to peel off there when I tried. So I'm just grabbing our little half pieces that I just cut. And just kind of trying to work these guys in here. Come here. This one's a little bit thicker, so it doesn't really want to cooperate very well. Okay, so there's that section. And let's see if I've got enough usable glue in here. Finish up this side. Kinda suspect we do. I'm trying to go around the edge of that part of our wing guy. What? Angry foot. Everything is creaking and cracking and all of it. Alright. Kind of tuck that in up against the other RNG pieces there. And our next guy. Now, if you're having trouble grabbing these guys, if you have a pair of craft tweezers that could potentially get glue on them, or you have a pair of craft tweezers you're willing to let potentially get glue on them, that could help you out here quite a bit. Alright, so I'm just trying to snatch up whatever glue I still have in my cup here that feels like it might still cooperate. And then I'm gonna rinse out my brush here. Now, if your rinsing water starts to feel a little sludgy at the bottom, that's most likely the glue settling out of the water or to the bottom of the water. You can just refresh your water cup, that's fine. If you feel you need to, then you need to. That is something that you will have to determine for you. Okay, I just had a couple extra. Not really extra, but a couple red guys there that we had already cut. That kind of felt like we could tuck into there. Okay, now we need some more glue. We're about halfway done our chicken, I guess. Probably won't be getting the chicken done today. So that means I am going to need to do... Oh no, we definitely won't get the chicken. Well, the whole piece won't be done today. Chicken, I was kind of hoping that maybe we could have pulled it off, but that's just not gonna happen in the next half hour here. No matter how much we might want to make that so. Okay, actually didn't put that much glue in the cup, so I will have to refresh that. Before we move on from that, I just realized I still have black tissue paper. Okay. So, can we get away with one? Or do I need to do a 2-layer here? Probably gonna be a 2-layer. Alrighty. Nope, I need a smaller one. For sure. Try to cram in on the edge of that wing there. I guess it's all kind of the same wing, I suppose. So it's definitely going to be a funky colored chicken. That's for sure. Okay. Now, try to get the glue off the edge of my finger now. Okay, so we have to do this section now. That section is our lighter green, and I actually have some lighter green twisted, it would seem. I have a few of that twisted. Well, that's helpful. Where is... Right, so unfortunately the other color is our weird ass gray silver, because I didn't really have any gray to regular gray to use, and this was originally not green, it was a different color. It was like a lighter blue. But we're trying to make do with what we got, so. Oh my goodness. Quite the clump of glue there. Hanging out under the edge of my fingernail. So I'll probably end up doing this in like 2 layers. More than likely. I mean, I could probably get it in one, though. But two would probably work out the best. And this section is going to be mostly the green. With just a tiny little touch of our silver. So I don't need a whole lot. But we like need enough, right? So okay, so we're gonna need a little bit more glue, I think. I don't know. I might cut these pieces in half. Just so it doesn't look quite so flat compared to the other guys. Okay, let's try that. So if I can get these pretty much, half might be too short though. I mean, all we can do is try it, right? All right. Get a couple more snipped here without snipping me. That's part of the key here. So we don't snip ourselves. Okay, get a little bit more of our glue here. Or at least we're gonna try to. So I'm gonna try to get some up on that other color's layer. Just so it has a little something else to try to grip to here. Oh, now my camera's gonna... What the hell is going on today?
Bill?
Well, now Elgato took a shit fit. And I didn't notice till I looked up, so it happened while I was putting glue down. Like, I didn't touch anything. What the fuck? Technical difficulties, man. Some days they are just maddening as I drop all of my pieces that I just snipped. Because everything wants to be aggravating today. Apparently. Sorry about the camera. It seems to like spazzing out every so often for some reason. seriously beginning to question that one card that we installed. Although Elgato could be the cord. So I did see a whole bunch of people saying, yeah, it's not working, I had to replace the cord. But then I finally got it to suddenly start working with the same cord it came with.
It wasn't the cord, we were having software problems. They put out an update, remember?
Well, something's not happy for it to be doing that. Unless Windows 11 just doesn't like anything. But between that and...
Well, I know that right now Microsoft is having an issue with their latest attempt at an update.
Oh, that's nice.
So...
So between the internet issues today and now Elgato being stupid for no reason. Or what seems to be no reason. That makes any sort of sense. Alright, I have another just little tiny... Oh, and there goes the internet again. Fuck's sake. 2:45, so a half an hour from the last one. This is ridiculous now. Sorry, I have to time it in case we have to get a hold of our internet provider so we can tell them. And I'm kind of mad I didn't think to time it earlier. Okay. Well, at least now we know it's been a half an hour since the last time. We will see. I hope we fix this before tomorrow. I actually checked the town Facebook pages before I started streaming to see if anybody else was experiencing this issue, and nobody else seemed to say anything, or at least the posts hadn't been posted because the posts have to be approved because they're closed groups, and the one group...
Just so you know, there is a stupid amount of Microsoft outage problems going on right now.
Why would that affect our internet, though?
Well, it might be affecting your computer, not the internet. You know what they're like for having shit update in the background and whatnot.
I didn't think I've ever had a Windows update in the background. I always thought I had to approve them. But this is affecting Spotify too, so every time Spotify drops, the internet dropped.
Well, there's a lot of outages being reported on that too.
And it's just starting to irritate the fuck out of me.
And there's a lot of outages in our specific area of Arkansas.
Wonderful.
So I'm pretty sure it's not us here.
Well, the reason why I wasn't sure was because it's timing up with the internet drop. Because I'm watching the frames drop on OBS.
It's probably some kind of local internet problem.
Maybe.
But it does seem to be affecting our region. That's what I'm getting at.
Well, this guy's definitely homemade. We can tell that. He's definitely got the look of being handcrafted, shall we say. Come on. Stick, dang it. Okay. So we've got a few more minutes left here today. We're going to try to finish out. Is her cable being affected?
It's an internet problem.
Yeah, but I didn't know.
It's not us.
I was just curious if the cable provider was also having issues. That's all it was about. Because that cable box of hers likes to get squirrely at the drop of a hat. I'm half expecting the power to go out at this point. Because why not? Just in time for dinner. Okay. Let's get a few more of our green guys in here. Ugh, glue clumps. Like, I can usually handle getting paint on me pretty well, but it's when I get sticky that it starts to get like, why? Okay. This guy. Well, hopefully it'll get this nonsense out of its system by tomorrow. Because we've got to work on an axolotl. And I would like to do that without having to worry about internet stupidness. I mean, we never will have a guarantee of that not happening, but if it could just like behave itself for a little while, that would be great. Okay. So we'll get. That's not too bad. I'm kind of loving the tail and the texture on it. like if we turn it sideways, you can see all of the paper layered up on it. So yeah, I think in the end, I'm gonna end up just putting a nest over the foot because the foot's still pissing me off. But I'm gonna wait to make that absolute 100% final decision until we get the background in because it's just gonna be easier. Because if I do that, I'm just gonna lay it on top of the foot, and I've got some jute rope that we can do that'll look like kind of scraggly and messy like a chicken nest would. So that's gonna do it for today. So thank you guys for popping in and checking out what we've been doing and how far we've got. We're about halfway on the chicken itself. So next week we will finish up the chicken and start on the background. And it might be 2 more sessions till we completely finish this guy. Because I'm probably going to have to do the sides of this one too. So I'll have to work quickly, but I think we can get it done in 2 more sessions. Tomorrow we'll be back. We'll be working on the husband's needle felted axolotl. I've got one of the little head tentacle tendril thingies done. I need to make another tendril, and then we'll have to get working on coloring those guys before we attach them to the head. So I don't know how far we'll get on that tomorrow, but I have a feeling I'm gonna have to do some recorded sessions on that guy. We do. And then on Wednesday we'll be doing Planet Zoo. So thank you again. Don't forget to follow the socially links down below. There's links to the Instagram, the Ko-fi, the Blue Sky, and the YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is free to do so. And if you could turn your notifications on, because you never know what we're going to have pop up over there. We archive the live streams, and we also will occasionally have stuff pop up that didn't get streamed, like an art project or a game. Right now we are playing through Bear and Breakfast, so I have not finished it yet. I am still working my way through it. I think we're getting closer to being done. We finished all of the quests for Timber Crossing and A24 in my most recent recording, so if you haven't seen that, keep your eyes open. And we are working our way through High Lake and Winterberry at the moment. So we got that going on. I hope everybody has a good evening. If you're going to be traveling this week, please stay safe. Don't drink and drive and all that. And I will see everyone tomorrow for needle felting the axolotl. Have a good night, you guys.